and call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Member Yates? Here. Member Sandifer?
Yeah.
Right. Member Scholl? Or Vice Chair Scholl? Chair Olmsted Miller?
Here.
Okay, we have there's quorum.
Thank you, and can we have Yvonne, please, or Vice Chair Scholl, please say the next please, in the pledge. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and staff update, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. I am going to turn over to our Finance Director, Mr. Secretary, to go over a couple of revenue reports with you. But the good news is we keep bringing new projects, and as long as we keep approving those projects, we're walking them through the City Council, and projects are getting done. So that's, we'll keep doing that. But she will go over the status of our revenue with you.
So in your handout that was passed out for measure our revenue receipts, compared to last year to this year, last year we started receiving measure our funds in March of 2019. For 18-19, we received a total of $1,230,000 in measure our funds for 2019. So far as of yesterday, we have received $2,899,000. For this fiscal year. If you turn to the next page we have here little estimates of what is expected between our sales tax and versus our measure R estimates. Finance revenue is estimated at $7,458,000, and our measure R is estimated to be $5,285,000.
So if I can quickly comment on that. So our sales tax consultant HDL, they are currently projecting that we'll get $5.3 million approximately for measure R. If you look at the schedule that she previously presented, for the first 6 months we've received almost $2.9 million. If you straight line that, you will think we're going to get about $5.8 million, right? But we'll come back to you at your next meeting to actually provide information in terms of what we project for the end of the fiscal year, and then probably make an adjustment to the projected revenue as part of your mid-year.
Okay, but that combined, then we're estimating $6,516,000 in the fund total.
Right.
Because we didn't start until this fiscal year.
Right. So we go to our last page regarding the estimated fund balance. So at the end of June of 2019, our balance after the initial, there were a couple minor expenditures last year. It was $1,290,000.
Okay.
And so with what was approved and adopted, it added about 1.1 to our fund balance. And so as adopted, we have an estimated ending fund balance of $2,371,000. However, there have been two appropriations that were done, 2 projects that were added, which is the interactive speed and stop signs and street striping project and the 6th Street trail fence replacement project, totaling $650,000. So with those also added into the budget, it's estimated that at the end of the year there'll be about $1,721,000 that will be the
Last, if we approve tonight.
Yeah, I would use that.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Do you have anything else to update us on?
Nothing to add. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer those.
Any questions? Okay. Approval of the minutes of the January 22nd. I do have some issues with the minutes.
Yep.
And where it says Chair Olmsted Bowen had a question related to auto and transportation tax. It was just tax on autos, not transportation, because that's a different thing.
Okay.
City Manager Okoro stated the city does receive tax money regardless of where Norco residents purchase, but that's on DMV transactions. It's on point of destination
Okay.
transactions, not every transaction. And also where City Manager Okoro stated that only hotels contribute and that restaurants do not, it's not clear that he's talking about the TOT tax. It seems like it appears that he's talking about all taxes.
All taxes, COT tax.
Right.
I'll add that.
And then City Manager Crowe explained that the revenue is in separate city-maintained bank accounts. I think it should be separate funds maintained in city bank accounts and investment accounts. So it's just a little clarity, it's nothing really.
So you're stating in separate funds?
Separate funds that are maintained in bank accounts, bank and investment accounts.
Bank and investment accounts. Okay.
And I think that's all I found. Did anybody else have any?
I don't think I was here.
We're good.
No.
It was Norco virus.
My husband has it right now. It's horrible.
Worse than the corona.
Yes, it does. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Thank you. Now you have to do the vote, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Number 8? Aye. Member Sadler?
Aye.
Member Capelli?
Aye.
Vice Chair Shaw?
Aye.
Chair Olmsted Bowen?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to our discussion items. The order of discussion items are a staff report, committee's questions to staff. Chair will call, and then we'll have public comments, and the committee will then have our final discussion and action. So the first action item is proposed purchase of Vigilant Solutions automated license plate readers with Measure R tax revenue.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Oversight County Sheriff's Department and your Norco station. We're here to present on Vigilant ALPR cameras. Those are automatic license plate reader cameras. Our stance on combating criminal activity is a priority in the city while maintaining quality service and high response times without reducing service levels. To help preserve staffing levels and assist with combating criminal activity, the complete virtual fence, the Vigilant Solution automated license plate readers provides a crucial investigative tool to help solve crimes in our city quickly and with improved technology. So Vigilant Solutions is about protecting officers, families, and communities. Vigilant is about saving lives, creating innovative and essential intelligent solutions for law enforcement that enhance policing efforts. Intelligence can solve crimes, prevent crimes before they occur, and improve safety for our officers and the public that they serve. Vigilant Solutions are designed to collect, organize, and share data to credentialed law enforcement personnel, making intelligence readily accessible and easy to use. So the Vigilant Fixed LPR ANPR. What that is, it adds investigative power and improved community safety with Vigilance Fixed license plate recognition software. So here you will see the actual cameras. These cameras But they feature a rugged and compact dual lens, infrared and color, engineered for extreme conditions. The camera recognizes license plates, and the camera's field of view matches against various agency hot lists and notifies law enforcement of matches. The system can also stream live video to a separate location, such as a video management system. These cameras are installed on top of light posts at most major intersections, and we'll show you a map of what that virtual fence will look like. The target alert system, service allows for alerts from fixed cameras, vehicle sightings to be broadcast to the Learn, which is the software that houses the information, to any computer or mobile device within the Sheriff's Department. A published application program interface allows for custom applications such as gate triggering and communications with external systems. So what that means is that if we're looking for a specific vehicle that committed a crime, we can enter that license plate into the Learn system that would alert us when that vehicle hits our geofence and provide us real-time information. As we talked about real-time alerts, the accelerated investigations with real-time alerts with the placement of Vigilance fixed license plate recognition solution in strategic locations in our community creates a virtual fence to proactively prevent crimes and improve safety. It adds investigative power and enhanced safety with fixed license plate reader cameras without increasing manpower. And that's key. We're able to get more information for criminal investigations. We receive alerts when vehicles of interest enter our community, and it helps identify stolen vehicles as well. So the fiscal impact. So we come to you with a proposal and a recommendation for funding for 10 fixed ALPR cameras. What that includes is 5 primary intelligent boxes, 10 brackets for the cameras, commissioning, which is the setup and installation, 5 years of housing fees, and a 5-year hardware warranty. So these are a 5-year camera. Anything that happens within the 5 years, Vigilant replaces the camera. So here is currently the mapping that we're looking at completing the geofence. Where you can see on the top left where it says existing ALPR, the city of Eastville a couple of years ago purchased a significant amount of ALPR cameras and completed a geofence around the city of Eastville. We were fortunate enough to have 2 of those cameras installed on our border as well, which we received the intelligence from those 2 cameras. So we don't have to replace these cameras because they're already within our northern border of our geofence. So as you can see on the top left corner, that camera there is on River as you just come over the bridge. On the top right corner at Citrus and Hamner is another camera. So it captures both northbound and southbound traffic. And let me clarify, on both of those cameras, they capture both northbound and southbound traffic, all lanes of traffic. So to complete our geofence, what we're looking at adding with this recommendation is Cordon and River. We're looking down here at 2nd and River, Hidden Valley and Hamner, Norco Hills and Hidden Valley, 6 and the I-15 freeway as traffic comes off, and then north in California, primarily Crestview and North is where the traffic signal's at. So this would complete that geofence with those 10 cameras. So let me just give you a little background on ALPR technology. ALPR technology has helped solve literally thousands of crimes, including planned terrorist attacks, child abductions, human trafficking, narcotics trafficking, rapes, homicides, and just about any other type of offense you can imagine. It has helped exonerate suspects as well. I can tell you with the 2 cameras that we piggyback off of with the city of Eastville, we have solved a majority of our crimes with. A lot of our criminals that come into town to commit their crimes are coming in through our borders. And this is why we're requesting the geofence. The city of Riverside has ALPRs. Most of your law enforcement agencies have a vigilant ALPR. So the information is all stored on a CGIS law enforcement database, and it's shared only amongst law enforcement partners. Okay, so it is completely highest level of security. We do have a policy, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, which is in correlation with the County of Riverside, on the privacy and usage of that information. So back in 2016, SB 34 was passed as far as automatic license plate readers. And from that, we developed a policy within the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, and that is policy 412 of our lexical policy. So we always stay up to date as far as our policy is concerned, and none of that information is shared. Okay, that information stays only within the Riverside County Sheriff's Department and can be accessed through other law enforcement agencies that are within the Learn software nexus. We don't share that information with public or the city. Okay, that information stays within law enforcement and the Sheriff's Department. So, technology is increasingly being used as a force multiplier to help law enforcement protect and serve, and license plate readers is part of that trend. Law enforcement agencies nationwide have been maximizing the impact license plate readers can have on the way they protect communities by installing a network of these cameras to create what's called a virtual fence. So basically what I talked about, that virtual fence. Everyday law enforcement agencies are asked to do more with less, to be prepared and to readily produce investigative leads. And I can tell you, reiterating, this does help tremendously. Especially when we have information, we can plug it in and help us locate where these suspects are coming into. So with that, I will open up for any questions of the committee.
Do you have a system, in Norco like this, completed system, and you're looking for somebody, say you've got a suspect, and can you put their name in, and then if they show up, their car shows up in Riverside on their network, will it notify you then?
So the way that the license plate readers, they only capture license plates. So if we have a license plate or a partial plate, we can plug that in, and it will give. So let's back up just a little bit. If we plug in a partial license plate, and we're looking for a Toyota with that partial license plate, it will generate a report and show us a full license plate with that make, model, and color of that car. With that, then we can use the license plate, run it through our DMV system, and determine where the registered owner comes back to with that information, and that's how we go and track that person down. Yes?
3 quick questions. Do we have any ALPRs on any of our vehicles in the city?
No, none of the vehicles. Previously, the County of Riverside had 3M as a license plate reader company. 3M has gone out of business. Vigilant is the sole provider and the leader of the industry right now, which most municipalities are using as their license plate readers. So currently we have none on the vehicles. The city of Eastville does have some on the vehicles, City of Riverside, Chino, Ontario. Those become more costly. However, they are a good tool because it captures information as the deputies are driving around. The problem is if the vehicle goes down and the equipment goes down with the vehicle. You can't just take the equipment off and fit it on another vehicle.
Second question is, I see you have 6 locations, and I assume a couple of those are multiple cameras?
Yes, so you're gonna have multiple lanes that we're looking at capturing.
So that's one of some of these 6 dots.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's multiple lanes, multiple directions that we're looking at capturing, these 6 locations would house the 10 cameras that would help us create that geofence coming into the city.
And the last question is the Riverside County Sheriff set up so that if Chino Police put in a 6475 stolen Mercedes out of Chino is in the Learn system, or is your dispatch center, if it comes across Archibald and River, is it automatically, hey, units in Norco, stolen
Yes.
vehicle reports coming down the road. So that's, we are at that real time in Norco.
Yes, so the way the learning system works is that Learn is actually on dispatch's computer as well. So if there's any vehicle that's entered into the California Law Enforcement, CLEX, we call it, if we're looking for a vehicle that's stolen, been used in a child abduction, missing person, wanted subject for any various crimes, it automatically creates a hit, and that automatically pops up on dispatch's side, in which dispatch can immediately broadcast information to the patrol units or the units out in the field and give us up-to-date information. Also, we can subscribe to Learn on our phones, where we receive up-to-date texts. If a vehicle comes through one of those geofences, it immediately texts us the license plate, the vehicle description. And I can just tell you, I got 2 alerts today, and both vehicles were not wanted. They were, sometimes the way the camera reads it, it may read it because they have a obstruction on one of the letters, like a T is covered or an I is covered. So it creates that obstruction, which is a close match. So that's why we verified it in DMV. But I can tell you, last week we had a stolen vehicle come through, which we immediately picked up on camera because of that information coming through.
Does this close our loop for our boundaries, you think, or are we missing another vehicle? Do you think we need more?
Primarily,
This is an amazing system, just to say, I know it's,
Sure.
it solves lots and lots of crime.
Absolutely. We had a recent trailer theft off of 2nd during the day, and we captured the car coming into the city off of Hammer. We captured the car and the trailer going off of the river in Archibald, and it led us to an area in Chino where Chino picked up the LPR, and it led us to the suspect's location.
So is there any spots you think we're open and we still need another one, or will we just close us, you think, this?
For now, I think this is completing the geofence. I mean, we can always have more within the geofence, within the city limits. And Vigilant has reached out to me where they're coming out with a new, because these cameras are hardwired, so they require a power source, and they work with Public Works on creating that power source within the pole. So usually it's at a light, the fixed light where there's a power source, but they're now coming out with a solar option that hasn't hit the market yet, but it's something that's coming, which is going to be less expensive. So it could be an option that we look at in the future to maybe place internally within the city once those have been vetted and tested out in the field.
Thank you.
Since it's a geofence, does investigations get the report, or you just get from dispatch? How does that work?
So we can go in, each deputy has to receive 4 hours of training. We then can have a login and go in and use it as an investigative tool. So if we're looking for a certain vehicle that was involved in a crime, then we can punch in that license plate and see where it's been hitting. And what it does within the software is it creates a map. So it will show us pretty much a map of where that vehicle's been hitting on ALPRs, not within Norco, but within other cities, to kind of help us, correlate where that vehicle is going or coming and going from.
So you as Norco, deputies or investigators, can you put in wanted people that you're looking for if you have their license plate?
Yes, so we can create alerts on that. So if we are looking for that vehicle, we can create an alert, so every time that vehicle pops up on the ALPR, then it alerts the investigator or the deputy that's looking for that car. So the real-time information that Vince was talking about is if the car is stolen and it's wanted, that's when it comes a higher priority to dispatch. If we're looking for a vehicle, then it would just go straight to the deputy or the investigator that's looking for that information.
And who's responsible for putting all that information into the system?
So it would be the primary deputy or investigator that's looking for that. So if the vehicle has been reported stolen, it automatically links with CLEX.
So anything that's reported stolen that's in CLETS would be in the ALPR?
Correct. It automatically transposes over to the LPR system.
But just Norco stuff would be up to the deputy to put in,
Correct.
if they want to.
Correct.
Any questions, Audrey?
Yeah, you guys are good. So this sounds great and it's a lot of data. So do we think that the current staffing with the sheriffs that you have now will be able to utilize the influx of the data that's coming in, or where do you see that positioning you?
So as far as housing the data,
No,
Or
as far
just-
as using the data. So I did a little bit of research on this, and it is about being able to actually have actionable items on the data. So it's great to know it, but if you don't have enough staff to actually, or resources to respond to the information you're getting, it's not as useful as it would be if we did. So just curious where we are with, where do you think we'll be with that?
so we do have our Technical Services Bureau houses and deals with all the information. As far as on the deputy level and the investigators, they're not inundated with too much information in regards to the ALPR system. They can pull as much information as they want. They pull as little information as they want. Primarily, they need this tool to help them because of the fact that we're getting, people have surveillance systems, so they're giving us great information or partial information. This helps us complete that information and
I
helps
think we
us.
just want to know, like, we want you to add, we don't want you to get less information.
Yeah.
We want you to have more, so, because we live here. So we just want to make sure, I just want to know if, this information coming in, do we think that we have enough deputies to be able to handle the influx? Because now you're going to have more data than you had before.
Yes, absolutely. And, like I said, this is to help preserve our staffing levels that we have now. If we were to not have these types of investigative tools available to us, then it causes more staffing time to go and basically shake the bush like the old days. So that creates more. However, with our current staffing levels, to manage this information, it will actually solve crimes quicker.
Okay.
And it will give us real-time information faster that we can complete the investigations quicker. I can give you some success stories. There was a daytime burglary off of Cordon, and I think we publicized this and that they had kicked the door and someone gave us a partial plate. We were able to complete it through Vigilant based off of ALPR hits in Riverside, which led us to the house where the two suspects were taken into custody.
That was his daughter, Bill Geist's daughter.
Yes, that's correct. So
He's
that,
not there, but the ghost chick.
that information that is used, when we have serious crimes that are committed, we solve these crimes quickly because of the investigative tools that are available to us through technology.
Great. Those are great stories. That's exactly what we want to hear. I'm curious, because I live in the border area of our town, if Riverside also is using this and if Corona is also using it, our other touch points, you mentioned Eastvale specifically, but what of our other surrounding cities also have this technology?
Sure. So Corona is now getting ALPR cameras. You have Ontario, Chino, Riverside, Eastvale. So immediately around the city of Norco, you have ALPR cameras.
Okay.
Foreseeable in the near future, I would see Herb Valley purchasing some cameras. But primarily for us, most of the larger municipalities that are serviced around our city have ALPR cameras.
Okay, because that obviously makes your information even better.
Yes,
This
absolutely.
is a pretty sizable investment when you look at the other infrastructure needs that we have in the city. So I'm just wanting to make sure that I understand, whether you're going to be able to leverage the information
Yes.
that is going to be used.
And I come to you because it is, we're very fortunate. I know the members of this committee voiced their concerns on adding more traffic deputies, and we were very fortunate last council meeting to add another traffic deputy. And so that was with some of the cost savings that we had based off of a percentage. Our contract rate percentages were a little bit of a savings for us. So we don't have any more savings to purchase this. That's why we're coming to help, not only preserve what we have as far as keeping those staffing numbers where we're at, but hopefully to get the recommendation to make the purchase.
And then also, the data that's collected from this, you're gonna have, I'm curious if there's data that's like 125 stolen cars drove through our city in this month. Like, so there's data to be collected and to be mined out of the information. How does that happen, and who are you reporting to? Obviously not, secure information, but to provide to the city information about, what's happening, the current state. I guess it's generating more public safety information, and we'll have more potential crime stats or just more information. And I'd like to know that we're getting that data back into the city as well, so that we understand what's happening.
Yeah, and fortunately with SB 34, we can't share that information. However, we can share the success stories from these, from the LPRs, from us being able to solve crimes quickly. Usually the first thing that we go to when we have information is the LPR system. And we immediately plug in that information to help us. And I can tell you that the deputies, they realize how successful that tool is, and that's why they go to that information. As far as numbers provided back to the community in the city, those would be success stories. And that would be something that is coming up in my annual report in April. You can hear the success stories that we've had just in 2019 compared to the previous years. So I think that this is only getting better for law enforcement as far as investigative tools. And this is something that, benefits the deputies and keeps them on the streets.
You mentioned that the deputies can subscribe to the service. I'm assuming you just mentioned that you got the alerts. Does everyone subscribe to it? Because you said can.
Yes. So once everybody, right now everybody has the 4-hour training.
Okay.
So newer deputies that come into the field, they immediately get the training so they can have access to this. What I'm saying is that they're required to have a 4-hour training block on how to use information, how it's tracked, the sensitivity of it, its confidentiality, and it's only law enforcement sensitive, so basically the information can't be shared. However, those alerts, once you are logged in the system, you can your email subscribe. Basically, your email is the subscription to the Learn software, and then you can go into the software and receive what alerts off of what cameras. So if I wanted to receive all alerts in Riverside County, then I would be up all night. So primarily, I set up the 2 alerts coming into the city. So anything that's been of interest, it immediately alerts us coming in the city.
And the alert goes to your cell phone.
Correct. So it's two-folded. So it goes to dispatch real time, and it also comes to, so the information gets broadcast 2 ways immediately.
Will it go to the deputy's personal cell phone, or is it a county cell phone that's going to go to? Because is it a discovery problem that they get it to a personal phone?
Yeah, and so we run into this issue because anything that's work-related on a personal phone is discoverable. So if you subscribe your email to your personal phone, obviously your phone is now discoverable. So we primarily have phones that the city provides that are work phones. However, we have also county phones. Because this information can't be used on a city phone because of the privacy and policy of the sheriff's department, it only goes on the county phone, which is controlled by the county of Oversight and the sheriff's department. So the information is, can they subscribe? On their phone? Yes. Is it discoverable at that point? Yes. Just like anything else, it's just like taking a crime scene photo on your personal phone, your phone can be seized as evidence at that point.
But now that's against your policy, and so that's, did you just say that's against your policy? So then you're subject to discipline in a different way.
Yeah, it opens up a whole Pandora's box at that point.
But it is against your policy.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So primarily, that's why all the alerts go straight to dispatch and then get broadcast out. That is just available if you have a phone that's on the county network.
Perfect. Do you have any question?
No.
Jeremy?
I just wondered, do they get both front and rear license plates? Because, you know, sometimes criminals take the front one off or whatever, and
So primarily, the way the Vigilant sets up the cameras is to capture the rear. Because a lot of vehicles do not utilize the front plate.
then how did you get a trailer? Because the trailer is the rear, I mean, it would block the rear plate, correct?
So the trailer captured the truck color and make as well as the trailer, which was the same truck that was coming into the city.
Oh, you get it coming in, that's right, okay.
Yeah,
And are you gonna put up signs that say that we use this system to keep kind of trying to keep them out, the criminals out, or?
this software and the cameras are not advertised as
Okay,
far as
I'm just wondering.
being, yeah, they don't say smile, you know. You're not- Those are primarily citywide cameras, which is a whole different software that you can utilize, but no, they don't have anything that will distinctly, it looks like a traffic camera. So if you look at most traffic poles, you'll see some traffic cameras. It looks like a traffic camera, so it's pretty unrecognizable.
So these are not gonna be used for traffic enforcement, just for informational purposes?
Correct. All they do is capture information as far as the license plate. They don't tell us that they're speeding or committing any other traffic violations. It primarily is just capturing the license plate and associated to the vehicle.
If you have a geofence around the border, will you have standalone cameras that you can put, let's say you have a series of crimes in a certain neighborhood, there's only one way in and one way out. Do you have a standalone that can go there for investigations to see what cars go in?
So that was a question that we posed to Vigilant. That is a possibility that we can get a standalone camera. So we can, if we realize that the 10 cameras is sufficient, you know, we can take one of those cameras and make it a standalone camera. That only has to have a power source. That's why I'm interested to see what the solar powered system will look like, because the solar power system is going to allow us
Truly standalone.
to
Right.
be truly standalone, where we can move it.
Because you'll have to, I mean, I suspect it needs to have some height. So it's not like you can just drop it by someone's driveway kind of a thing. It's an up in the air,
Correct.
intended
So
to
it's
be
not
from a
stolen.
distance. And also stolen, yes. And so it'll be interesting to see how they come up with that so that you'd be able to put it on, I'm guessing, a light pole or a
Yeah, they're infrared cameras.
power poles or something else.
So they have to be, there's a certain angle that they have to capture, because sometimes people have reflective plates or they will do alterations to their plates, so they're not captured on cameras. However, these cameras will capture that because of the angle and the technology within the infrared that they house. With the standalones, that could be something as far, you know, as that we'll have to find out when they come out with the solar version, as far as height, and can it be something that we mount at a checkpoint, you know, as we're doing a DUI checkpoint, you know. So those are future items that we're looking at with the new technology that's coming out.
And do you suspect, or, I mean, is there any plans that you've heard of yet for Oversight County having them available on your vehicles?
So the county of Riverside has looked at various DOJ grants to purchase these.
Okay.
And
I'm just,
they've been unsuccessful at this point. And so that's why we're reaching out to try to find other funding
In the meantime, while they're
Correct.
still doing theirs, we can be doing our standalone, or not standalone, but our fixed options
Absolutely.
while that, so to bridge the gap.
Correct. And because the cars are owned by the county, they're not owned by the city, so they can place that equipment on our vehicles that are housed here in the city, so we get that benefit as well.
Okay.
And speaking of the capturing of, so think of the cars, they have them too, mounted on each side of the car, so it's just the way that angle and the car is capturing that license plate as it drives by. So it can capture it lower.
Yeah, it's just, it's weird.
Okay, any more comments or questions? Do we have any cards on this?
Yes, you can keep it first, or hold it.
Sorry. Hello. I had a couple of comments on this. My first one, I'm always going to question the process. We don't have a safety commission, and I did not see this brought up at city council. So the process on how this project came to you for approval for monies was kind of, is this a cart before the horse? There's going to be a contract involved. You could spend all this time, we got a nice presentation, you could go to council and then go, yeah, we're not doing that. So, you know, I'm not sure that it went to any commission, I know it didn't come to parks, but I haven't seen it at council. I don't go to every single council meeting, so I could have missed it. I was at the council meeting when Eastvale brought the project and wanted to do the two cameras that are existing. Council seemed pretty intrigued by it. They didn't have any issues with them going up there. Since they were bordering, they had to get permission or something. I don't know. But I'm always going to want to see, where did this request come from? Because it should come from staff, commission, or council. This one seems to come from staff, but again, because there's a contract involved, later down the line, will we need more investigative officers helping us with the data? You guys asked some really good questions. Is it going to require something like that? If they're doing that at the sheriff's department, is it going to later come back and be a cost increase to us that nobody thought about ahead of time, or we didn't know what it was going to be, so we went, oh, that's okay, we'll spend the money, but now it's going to cost us $100,000 a year in technical support. So those kinds of questions. On the flip side, I really don't have a problem with that was a good point. This is kind of a lot of money considering there are other projects that maybe people would like to have done first. $160,000 is not going to fix a street, which is usually what people want to see first, fix all the roads. But my husband was in law enforcement for 30 years. He just retired. He was in traffic. He did red light cameras, all that good stuff. And those are really legal issues now. So he spent tons of time in court on those. But in talking with a lot of officers recently in the past 2 years, there is a lot of, you had some good feedback as far as examples of when these cameras work and how they work. It is going to help us keep our officers on the street and not out trying to do investigative work. So I do like that aspect, kind of helps keep us, you know, our officers active out in the field, being able to give tickets, that kind of stuff, and be the actual car out there that people can see, because that is a big deterrent. So is it cheaper than hiring another police officer? Absolutely. Does it help them get other work done in the meantime? Absolutely. So cost-effective wise, it seems like it's pretty good, and I don't hear anything but good reports from other departments as far as they start using these and they're like, we're getting hits all the time. It's really, they're excited about it. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's got to be a pretty good, useful tool when they're seeing it and they're excited about it. So that's just from different departments and different points of view, but I haven't heard anything bad coming from other departments and cities that are using this, so it's kind of entertaining. But that's my 2 cents.
Can I speak a little bit about our concerns with respect to the process? I think this is exactly the process. So this is a staff recommendation. The process that is defined under Measure R is that staff actually initiate this project for recommendation to the COC. The COC reviews them and makes their recommendation to the City Council. This will be going to the City Council at the next meeting, and to have the recommendation of the COC ratified or approved. And subsequent to that, there will be a contract that will be awarded to purchase the equipment. So this is pretty in line with what is anticipated for the process.
Any other cards?
Yes, Diane Collins.
Good evening, everyone. From everything that I see, I'm loving it. The one question I had was, so we've got the ones on the Eastville border that Eastville paid for. And Lieutenant Alita mentioned that Riverside has them, Corona's looking at them. I see one that's on a Riverside border and the remainder that are on Corona borders. If Eastville has paid for the ones on our north end there, is there a possibility of partnering with Corona somehow, there being a cost sharing of the ones on the Corona borders that would lower our costs? Just a question.
And just,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
back to Paul.
Yes, I think the concept is excellent. I'm really excited about it. Talking to other Norco residents, I'm not sure if they feel like this is a major R money to be spent wisely for major R. Because there's speeding and traffic issues and stuff like that. And I know this doesn't have that part of it, but that's what residents are looking at now, is how we can have the safety taking care of immediate problems that we have. I think this technology is excellent. I don't relate it to the red light cameras at all. And I'm proud to have the lieutenant here to explain this and bring this to our city.
There's no further speaker cards.
Do we have a comment on sharing with Corona? Do we know anything?
There's no harm in trying if Corona doesn't already have those locations, yeah.
Let them pay for them.
You know, it's certainly something that we can explore, reaching out to our outlying cities. Sometimes it could be a battle to get them to join in on something when if they don't see the need for it, if it's not going to affect them. The way these cameras are set up, the way we have them set up, Eastville has it coming in and out of their city. These would be set up for traffic coming into our city, not going out. So certain intersections will have them where they'll both be coming in and out. Others, they will be mostly coming in to capture that information. So, you know, it's something that we can look at, we can reach out to them, but it could delay the process. And also they may contractually, it may just be a challenge to get two cities to agree on.
So,
Really?
but though so if Corona's considering it, then they could do the partnering for the other direction. So if we could just make sure that at least that's communicated to them,
Absolutely.
so that we have an efficient communication that goes to the city, letting them know that we've installed them going this way, hey, you could actually do that partner and do the other direction, and they don't need to do what Eastville did, which was pay for both sides.
Correct.
So at least we could have that and leverage what we have to get additional information so that they could pay for their other side of it. I also just wanted to point out, we basically said it, but that these are basically for cameras for 5 years.
Correct.
So it's covering the hosting, it's covering warranty, it's covering any service, any maintenance, any everything for 5 years. So it's essentially a 33 $1,000 a year if you were to, amortize it out. It's basically a $33,000 a year actual investment in being able to do it. Do we know what the expectation or the life expectancy of the cameras are? So that should we be planning or expecting in 5 years or 10 years to be replacing them? I'm assuming though in 10 years it'll be entirely new technology.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's
Right.
So is this considered to be a 5-year investment and then in 5 years we would then reassess what the market is? Or is there a plan for that?
My best answer for that is it considered like any other technology, it's going to be outdated in 5 years.
Okay.
So that, I think that's why they have a 5-year warranty to cover the cameras, and in 5 years there could be a whole different system or camera. And so, could the camera exceed that lifespan? Most likely. It depends on how much wear and tear it takes. However, you're in an environment with dust and wind and all the elements of Mother Nature that could cause those lenses to deteriorate, get cloudy, break. And so after that 5-year warranty, then we're out a camera. And
that we actually have to make here.
and that kind of happened with our last equipment with 3M, and I think you've seen a couple of the cars driving around with big Mickey Mouse ears on them. So that equipment became outdated and they sat on the cars for almost 5 years. Technology is ever evolving, and I think a 5-year lifespan is adequate, and for them to provide that warranty is fantastic. If they were to say, we only provide a 3-year warranty, but the cameras will house them for 5 years, then I'd be a little skeptical on that point.
And then it also brings up the, public contracting. Curtis brought up a good point about contracting. So the procurement side of me wants to know are we piggybacking off of someone else's procurement? Is this something where this is patented technology and there is no ability, or what are we, is it a sole, what have we done in order to establish this contract, and what kind of negotiations have we done to ensure this is the best price?
So Vigilant is a sole source provider in this technology and in this field. So we get best pricing because of the law enforcement community as a whole is using Vigilant. So the more users, the more the price has gone down, and we're fortunate to now get potentially in the market where we're getting a good price for these cameras. If you think of the amount that our partners have spent compared to what we're looking at, is this huge difference.
Okay, so they have a tiered pricing so that once they hit a certain tier, then it pops down, and then they hit another volume. It's like volume discount tiered pricing.
And that's, I haven't officially gotten that answer, but that's pretty much how I've seen it through years, and seeing what the other contracts have purchased and the pricing that they've received for those.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make a couple of comments because I have been asking around, and I wanted to thank your deputies for coming to our neighborhood. Our neighborhood was where they actually caught the individuals that broke in when people were in their house sleeping, and they came and found them in the bedroom. So we had a neighborhood watch, and the deputies did mention that they use this system to help assist and how it makes them more efficient. Most of the comments, and you can answer it a bit, that I've received is that this is kind of big brotherish, like we're watching everybody, and that's the comment. But my personal feeling is that if you're not breaking the law, it shouldn't bother you to have these cameras. So, I mean, it's kind of like, being on Facebook, if you're, posting stuff that you shouldn't, right? Then don't make your Facebook public. So I kind of feel like that. And then also I considered what Jim said very carefully about, is this really what Measure R is supposed to be used for? But this will maintain and help make our officers, our deputies more efficient and put them on the street. So it's going to increase, our usefulness of our contract with the deputies. So I think it's a very good use of Measure R money, and especially since we have more than we thought we were going to. Because originally we thought 4.5 million, and now we have more, so we should put it, it's scarce resources, and how well you can use them is how government's supposed to work, and I think that this is a good use of these resources. So I'm supporting it personally.
And if I may clarify, Madam Chair, is that in regards to your question regarding personnel, this is not going to increase personnel to manage this for us in the city of Norco. It doesn't change the dynamics. It doesn't make them less efficient because basically it just gives them that added tool to help close their cases quicker.
And I wasn't looking for that, that level of commitment. I'm more just trying to understand, is it going to become more apparent that we may need more? Will the data collected from this show us whether we're actually in, a positioned well or not positioned well? This committee did have a pretty lengthy conversation, that was extended on public safety and how strong we felt about public safety, many of the members, and wanting to have additional officer or additional deputies, sorry, and also come from the other side. So we already felt strongly about that. But I also feel that this is data, that's why I wanted to make sure the data could get back to the city, because it helps you know any kind of performance management data to find out where we are. Like, are we doing the right thing? Are we actually staffed appropriately? Are we overstaffed? Are we understaffed? Where is it? It's not always that we need more. The data may show that we're actually doing a great job, that maybe we're good, or we need less, or maybe we can divert into other areas because with this data we have way less stolen cars than we may have originally projected, or whatever is coming out of it. We have data here that's usable, so I'm not necessarily looking that we're going to have more. I just wanted to know we were going to use all of it, knowing that we did, and as a resident who feels that more would be better, it would be nice to know if we're actually going to be able to find out what we'll have, and I'm very happy to hear that we have added an additional in the last council action. So thank you for providing that for this group and for our visitors tonight.
I also want to point out that they're already using it in Norco. So it's not like a new tool, it's just an expanded tool.
Well, and I think the important thing, and thank you, Susan, for bringing up that it's going to make them more efficient. I'd like to also add and complement that with effective. So if your time is going to be spent, if you actually know where they've driven by, then that's a lot more useful. I just wanted to make sure that we have the staff available, that if they drive into, on North and you catch them there, they're not already down, exiting at Hidden Valley and, well, that was nice that you were here. Thanks, and a wave. I want to know that if they come in, we're going to know and we have the ability to have action taken on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And successfully with the ones that have come into town where we've done the media alerts, we've had enough of our deputies stage in certain locations. So if it did happen to pass that area before they got there, there was someone waiting for them further on down the road strategically. So efficiently, our agency has gone to more proactivity, and so it's become more effective. Deputies are more eager to solve crimes as they get them because they take it personally. They don't like having to have someone be victimized in our city. So they have that access in their computer, in their car, that they can immediately plug this information to and drive directly to that person's house and locate them if they have to.
The only other thing that I'd like to request, and it's actually from staff, is that if you are going to be making an annual report that's going to include the data associated with that,
Yes.
We received some other reports. If we can either be reminded of when it happened, or if it's not too much trouble, if we can attach it to the agenda after the month that it comes into, so that we can, as a committee, actually see the data, see the reports and everything afterwards. We're reviewing what's happening from a financial perspective, but it also would be nice to just have it on the people perspective and what
Sure.
the impact to our
We
community
can
is.
share the annual report. I think he's going to present it on April, first meeting in April.
Yeah, we're looking at,
So we'd be glad to give you a copy of that report. In addition to that, I must say also, we sit down every month, the lieutenant and myself, to review a whole lot more detailed statistics, operating statistics regarding the operation than what is actually in the annual report. So we as a
Yes.
city do get plenty of data
Great.
to evaluate the effectiveness and efficiency.
Thank you so much, Andy, for that, because I think it's important for those who are watching this at home also, and the residents who are here today, to actually understand, exactly what's going to happen with this information if we do invest our tax dollars.
in the annual report, and I invite you to, if you can, come and just get a synopsis of what's occurring. And it tells you statistically what had occurred in the previous year and the previous years and what we've done to combat that. And I think this report this year that you'll be presented, or that will be presented to council, will be very, I'm very excited about it. Let's just put it that way. And I can tell you our staff has worked very hard, and we have preserved our numbers, and fortunately, we're very fortunate to have the new traffic officer. So that is also going to help us have more boots on the ground in the streets.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Can I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve staff recommendation for funding of Vigilance Solutions, automated license plate readers for public safety lighting, tax revenue and travel to city council final approval.
I second.
Do we want to say 167,000? I guess it doesn't matter. does
Because
it?
I'm staff.
Okay. And you second?
Roll vote. Member Yates?
Aye.
Member Webby?
Aye.
Member Sanford?
Aye.
Member Capelli?
Aye.
Vice Chair Schultz? Aye. Chair Olmstead Bowen?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to have Mr. Petrie. You're up.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I just wanted to provide you with an update of some of the projects we have going or going out or awarded and will be moving into the construction phases. Our citywide roof project was approved by council. We're a contract with R&R Roofing and waterproofing, and that contract amount was $409,540. Along with that, we had requested an additional amount of $34,000 to cover potential contingency on the roof. The reason why this was needed is that when we added our material and cost, we got to what our original estimate. However, without doing a contingency and in a roof tear-off, you can find problems that you need to correct. So contingency needed to be added. The council did award that, so the project estimate is $834,446. If the contingency is not needed, then that goes back into fund balance. The Sheriff Station Hall security upgrade improvements were contract was awarded to Stanley Security for Sheriff Station and City Hall security updates and the replacement of the backbone security system to include intrusion security cameras for $245,000. That work will start right away. Probably with talking to our consultant, I think we're going to be starting with our first phase in three weeks with our orientation, and then they'll start with construction and adding those particular areas. Part of this has some other improvements that need to be done, and the Sheriff's Station, as you remember, we're relocating outside of the securities. I'm going to be building an area separate for the IT equipment outside of the armory, and that will be another part of our project. GMID was approved to do the Phase 2 architectural and barrier protection measures, which is really the countermeasures. In going through our process, they will be bringing back 3 conceptual designs and final cost estimates for construction and to go into working drawings. Because of the whatever is finalized from an option from the council as far as the level of resistance ballistically could change the dollar amounts in our contract or what we budgeted significantly. So the best thought here is to really narrow that down, provide 3 options with 3 different costs, pick the one that works, and then move into the final construction documents. And based on that actual final document, engineering will be required because of structural requirements for the level of ballistics that would be put into the countermeasures. We've looked at some other options. We're working with our employee groups on this. We had an incident not too long ago, so this is why we were moving quickly to deal with that. It's not always a threat, but it's a feel of threat, and that way we need to make sure that we make our employees feel secure and safe. So we're moving down the road on that, and I anticipate that we will be, my goal is within 60 days to bring back those options. I'd like to bring that back in one of your updates too, so you know what we're planning and what that looks like as well. Based on what those cost estimates, we would be back here. So just so you know, I plan on bringing that as part of our process once we actually have those renderings and designs in place, so you see what is being proposed. Work to start in March 2020 related to all of these different projects of ours. AD assessment, our city engineer has reviewed it. We are about ready to hit the notice for professional services and start that process. I just got my final comments from building and safety and the engineer, and we look at that actually being posted next week, and then we would go through our review process, selection of the consultant to come in and do the citywide assessment. It's important for us, as we've talked about in our prior meetings, that we do that so that we have some outline for accessible removal of barriers under the Americans with Disabilities Act, because that'll be an important process of CIP in the future. The community center Riley Gym parking lot and design, we are 95% complete on all design. We're looking at that actually to be bidded in March. Our estimated engineering, construction, and design drawings cost us $9,000. City Hall HAVC project, a mechanical engineer has been selected. We have done our review process. He's in our final design and Title 24 requirements for replacement of the AC units. We actually had our engineer review on Friday. We did find some issues once you start really getting into the meats and potatoes, based on it's not the roof units and doing that, it's really more certain requirements that are now in Title 24, the distribution of air in various locations within City Hall that are not getting the right amount of air. So it's a ducting issue. So we're evaluating that. That may change the project a little bit. I won't know until we finish that full analysis and the design on that. That cost for that is $230,000 and then $10,000 to complete the Title 24. That also includes the project and construction review through the whole development of that project. Santa Ana River Causeway, Arcade Engineering is doing that. We're in our conceptual, we moved through conceptual design review, which was 15%, and at 60%, we'll have some working drawings to really review with the Parks and Recreation Commission, and then we will be moving that to the next process with the final construction estimates. But that project is moving away. I feel that we would be possibly ready for its fiscal year end to really have an evaluation to look at whether that's going to be this year or into next fiscal year. That concludes everything we have right today. We have some other things that are in the queue, and we'll be bringing those back to you in our next update on the project. So, if there are any questions, we have answers.
Do you have any estimates yet as how much difference the pricing that came back from the bids and your competitive process
On the revenue?
versus, not on any of it, is what, if any of it is any different than what we've actually adopted?
Yeah, when we first estimated, let's use the roof as an example. And that came up at the council meeting too, is that we actually came really in close on budget, actually just a little bit under, other than the contingency.
Okay.
So one of the discussions I had with our consultant is what was driving that. He says, right now, there is so much work out there, particularly on the roofing project side, that it is very competitive. By the way, our prices in here at 409 went from 409 to about almost $1.1 million for roofing projects. And so there's a scan. The next one was about 200,000 higher. What drove that is that if you're busy as a contractor, I'm going to get what I need to get it. The other issue that's coming up at this time of year in roofing, when I call large commercial industrial roofing projects, is the school districts are preparing to release all of their roof. So within our timing in the next 90 days, had we not bid it and awarded it, in 90 days, he said you'd be looking at a minimum 35% increase on all the bids, just because that's how busy it is. So our timing's really good. We have our pre-construction meeting on Monday, and we're going to get ready to get started. So, but as far as our estimates related to the security design on the software side, cameras, so we're pretty much right on. The one thing that may change in that was our server and the cost that comes in there. And we're still deciding whether we're not going to buy the server from IT, do that outright outside of it, or we'll leave it in the contract. So that's part of that discussion. We may save a little bit, not a lot in that situation. So that's one thing we still have to do. But everything right now is coming in. The real hang up for me on design for this final security phase is I have various levels and different expectations and trying to bring that together to meet that need. And because of that design, it could drive structural costs from engineering side way up. So we really need to really refine that and the level of ballistics. And as I think I said once before, I'm no ballistics expert, but I know a lot more than I did. And there are various levels that you can go. If you're talking bulletproof glass, if you're talking type of restrictive barriers. So the whole goal is to really bring that into a refined state, have 3 good options, 3 different cost points, and then to take a look at that and what it works best for us. And I'm working with I'm going to work with a group within our City Hall organization, so in the staffing, so that we really are identifying what their worries are and their needs and being able to respond to that appropriately. So, but other than that, I think our estimates were pretty close, other than that one, we didn't get it, but that's just sort of the draw of where it is. So, but anyway, any other questions? All right, thank you.
So public works side, pretty straightforward. Trail fencing project, it's been underway, about 50% complete. Trail rehabilitation project that has been underway, about 20% complete. River Road pavement project that's currently out to bid will come back on March 4th. And our Valley View Avenue pavement project, the design has been completed. However, unfortunately, the construction won't start until after the Valley View storm drain project is finished, which won't likely start until the summertime of this year. So it'll be a project that'll be part of the budget year for next fiscal year. And one other item I didn't put on here, which I forgot, which is the interactive speed signs, the striping we talked about before, which council approved. That's going to council for award on March 4th. And then we'll go out and actually do the installation as soon as they approve it sometime, probably, I guess, in April or May.
Right, and the council approved 2 sides of the fencing on 6th Street.
Yes, they have approved that. That's
It's approved to double on for the whole width, the whole length.
yes.
As recommended by staff, by the street chairs.
And that project is already out bid.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Regarding the trail fencing project, are you still prioritizing those streets that have been paved like late last spring or something?
That's the current list of projects that we're doing now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And on this report, was it the 2 sides, was it 300,000 or was it?
2,
It was 300,000.
I just wanted to make sure we were tracking.
So one of the things the finance director is going to provide you at our next meeting is that we provide some reports showing how much has actually been expended on these projects, so that you get a budget to actual. This is just a verbal report with respect to estimate of what has been completed.
Yeah, it would be nice to have like an overall list of, because now we're starting to do these one-offs, which is going to continue, which is great. But now it would be nice to have a whole list with kind of, progress, so that's great, thank you.
Okay, so, do I have a motion to receive and file?
Motion received and filed.
Second.
Member Gates?
Aye.
Member Redding?
Aye.
Member Sanford?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Vice Chair Shaw? Aye. Chair Olmstead Bowen?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Any public comment cards?
Not for this item. For public comment, yes.
Oh, for regular, yeah. All right, that's next. Okay, now we're on public comments. Do we have any public comment cards?
Public comment.
Teresa Edwards.
Yes, so moved.
I don't know, maybe that card should have gone to the last, probably, it pertains. So anyway, hi.
Hello.
I just wanted to make a couple of comments on the Measure R updates, and I would just like to give you a little bit of an update on where we're at the Heritage Room. My little neck of the woods that I keep coming here for. I know you have all your stuff going on in City Hall and everything. Security is good. I don't want to know too much. I don't know what the threats are you guys have over there, but it's a crazy world. And I understand all of that. However, when we get down to the climate control stuff and everything that you guys got going on over there, you're going to have new climate control systems and swamp coolers, which is nice. I would like to still have to check out the air conditioner line at the Heritage Room. I think it's leaking into the ceiling before we have to turn it on in the summer. It gets real hot in there. Also, sometime before next winter, we'd like to hook up the heat. The gas line in the Heritage Room was shut off or broken or this, whatever. We had no heat this entire winter. Yeah, we froze. It got pretty cold there a few times. And we, no spring chickens in there. We had to wear coats and everything. So maybe by next winter we can get some heat in the Heritage Room. My other question refers to some things that I'm hearing about the redevelopment of the area where the community center is in Riley's Gym. I know that they're talking about redeveloping that whole kind of area. And I have personally heard from a city council member that there might be a chance that Riley's Gym is going to come down or be moved or something. And I was just asking, how do you reconcile spending the money on the roof and the swamp cooler and the parking lot on Riley's Gym? If there's a chance that it's going to come down or be moved, then that whole area might be redeveloped. And I was just wondering if you guys were communicating on that. So anyway, thanks for letting me speak.
I forgot to read this, but the Ralph M. Brown Act limits the committee's ability to respond to comments on non-agendized matters at times such comments are made. So we can't, because it's not on the agenda, we can't respond, but thank you for speaking. Item number 4 is future items for our committee agendas. And on this, I do have a question because we're going into, this is February, so March, so you're going to be coming to us for the fiscal year budget for capital projects, right? Or,
Yes.
okay, so that will be next month?
Our goal is to bring it to you in April. Yeah, so
Oh, April,
that we
okay.
can
I'm
complete
pushing
that.
you.
Yeah, complete that process before we get into the workshop for the regular city budget.
So in next month, we'll have more updates on what we have for sales tax?
We can put out that.
Yeah, continue to provide that.
And so do we have any other things to agendize?
Other than what I spoke about before, which is to give you expenditure report with respect to where we are.
And new updates on all our projects?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And will we add the PD or the sheriff item too, so we have public works and then we have the other side of it on that
Sure.
report that
We'll provide
we
you
can have
with
the
what
additional
it is.
item, would be great, thank you.
Any other comments?
I'm sure he wouldn't have spent any money by that time, but we'll see.
No, but at least if we track it down the road.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Okay, so we're going to adjourn this meeting at 7:00.